And finally this week, the My Android Journey section is brought to us by John Dyre.
Hi, my name is John. I'm from the US, Virginia to be exact, and this is my Android journey. I should probably start by saying that I have a deteriorating eye condition called retinitis pigmentosa. So I've been legally blind for 20 years, and currently I have no central vision at all and just some light perception in my peripheral vision. But about 10 or 12 years ago, when I first started using smartphones, I had a lot more usable vision, so I didn't need all the accessibility features that I need today. I'm pretty much completely dependent on a screen reader these days, but it wasn't always like that. So, the last feature phone I used was called the LG Envy 3, and it had a QWERTY keyboard that you could use in landscape mode. It was a slide out keyboard, and I was able to use that phone. I'm not sure if it had any accessibility features. If it did, I didn't use them. I just held it really close to my face, and I could basically just use the tactile bumps on the keyboard to find all the keys with my thumbs, and I got pretty good at typing like that. But that was the last feature phone that I used before I ended up getting a smartphone. And when I did get a smartphone, it actually wasn't an Android phone or an iOS device. It was a Windows phone. It was Windows Phone 7. When they first made the transition from Windows Mobile 6 to Windows Phone 7, it was a completely redesigned UI with touchscreens, and I decided that that was probably the best time to go ahead and get a smartphone, being that I was a big Windows fan at the time. The first Windows phone I got was called the Samsung Focus, and it was just a touchscreen phone. It didn't have a slide-out keyboard, although Windows phones at the time you could get with slide-out keyboards. I decided to just go ahead and try to get used to using a touchscreen, and it actually wasn't as difficult as I thought it was going to be, because when you enabled the high contrast mode in Windows Phone, the way the keyboard worked, it showed you a large preview of whatever key your thumb was on right above your thumb before you would release it. So even though I couldn't see the letters on the keyboard, I could see the preview of the letters before I would release it. So that helped me a lot in transitioning to typing with a touchscreen. I had a lot of Windows phones over the years, and I stuck with them until the very end with Windows Phone 10. And when they called it quits, I had to make the decision to either go to Android or iOS, and it was a very easy decision. I had no interest in iOS at all. So when I switched to Android, I ended up going with the Nexus 6P. I believe it was running Marshmallow at the time, if I'm not mistaken. So it was very user-friendly when it came to accessibility. TalkBack was in a good state at that point, and the magnification gestures were working, and it was just a very mature platform by the time I ended up switching. So it was a great experience for me. I loved it. I just spent hours and hours customizing it, and I couldn't believe what you could do with it. I ended up getting into rooting. I ended up getting into ROMs. I used CyanogenMod for a long time, and even when I stopped using ROMs, I would still root my devices and use the exposed framework to make my device a little more customizable. So I could set like volume buttons to do what I wanted, or set different fingers on the fingerprint reader to launch different apps and stuff like that. And I just absolutely loved everything I could do with an Android phone. It just became a hobby for me, really. It wasn't a tool like an iPhone is. That's what people love about iPhone, is it just gets done what they need it to do. But in my case, I wanted to play around with it. I wanted to make it work the way I wanted it to work. I didn't want to be told how I'm supposed to do things. And it was just a lot of fun. I've used so many different Android devices over the years. I've tried LG, I've tried HTC. I had a BlackBerry Key 1 when it came out. I've used Samsung phones, OnePlus phones, Pixel phones. But what I've mainly stuck to is Pixel, just because stock Android seems to always work better for me. Also, big fan of OnePlus because I like the features they add to stock, and they keep it pretty stock, so there's not too many issues with accessibility. One of my favorite features on the OnePlus phones in Oxygen OS is the screen off gestures, where you can control your music and launch different apps and turn on and off the flashlight just from doing a gesture on the screen without even having to turn your phone on. So I've had a lot of Pixels over the years, but right now my daily driver is a Samsung Galaxy S21 Plus. I figured I'd go with Samsung this year since they are using TalkBack now instead of Voice Assistant. Also, Google seems to have taken the year off, in my opinion, when it comes to Pixel devices. They didn't really put the best flagship processor in their Pixels, in the Pixel 5, so it looks like that's because they're planning on doing their own silicon for the Pixel 6, which, if that's the case, I'll probably be jumping back on that bandwagon. I do have a Pixel 3a XL right now, just because I like to see what the next version of Android is going to be like, so I have it to run the beta version of the next Android, even though that's not my daily driver. So that's pretty much my Android journey. I tried not to ramble on too much. I really enjoy talking about Android, and I really enjoy listening to the podcast. I haven't been listening that long, just maybe a month or two. And you guys have really done a great job with it. It's nice to find some people with a blind perspective on technology while still being as enthusiastic about the technology as I am. So it's really been a lot of fun for me. So thank you for that.
And that indeed is my most favorite segment of the episode or the podcast. Now, Ed forgot to mention that because I am huge when it comes to the Android journey stories, because these are stories that tell about real life experiences with Android devices. And it's been my favorite and will always be my favorite because some of them bring laughter to your to your lips, and some bring tears to the eye just from laughing and all of that. So it is indeed my favorite segment of the episode, and that's my Android journey story. And thank you so much, John, for giving us your story.
And that, for this week, as they say, is a wrap. Austin, how do people find us?
People can find us in many ways. They can find us by visiting us on the website blindandroidusers.com. They can find a podcast in every app that is used to get podcasts, so they can do that. They can also find our YouTube channel. And as I said in the announcements, it has become very easy now. So it's youtube.com/blind Android users. If you have any questions or comments that you want to send us, you can email it to contact us at blindandroidusers.com. And we would like you to come live and give us your Android journey story. But if you want to record and send it to us, you can send it to myandroidjourney at blindandroidusers.com. You can subscribe to our mailing list by sending an email to blind Android users plus subscribe at groups.io, and follow us on Telegram, Twitter, and Clubhouse. And the links will be in the show notes. So all this information that I just said will be in the show notes. And that is it from us this week.
See you next week, everyone. Bye-bye.
It flew fast, and we'll see you guys next week. Adios, amigos y amigas. And that has been another episode of the Blind Android Users Podcast. As always, we appreciate hearing from you. You send those email messages to contact us at blindandroidusers.com. For those My Android Journey stories, we encourage you to send those to myandroidjourney at blindandroidusers.com. Until we see you in our next episode, you have a wonderful day.